Welcome to SharePoint JSON list formatting training. In this training, we're going to take a look at how to format a choice field to be used for a 5-star rating system. This will be interactive, so users can click on the stars directly from the SharePoint list view to update the rating for records. This is a lot of fun, and it's a great way to dress up your SharePoint list. If you're interested in learning how to code JSON formatting templates for SharePoint, this training's for you. Let's begin. Okay, the first thing you should do is click on the link in the description, and that will open up this training content which you'll need to do this training. Here I am at the JSON formatting training site, and this is where we'll begin. If this is your first training in the series, make sure that you read the introduction and prerequisites as well as the resources. Those are covered in depth in another video in this series. But make sure you have reviewed all that before you begin with this training. We're going to be doing the star rating training. In order to use this template, we need a field in our SharePoint list, which will be a choice field. And for this training, that's going to have choices 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So it's a 5-point rating that I'm doing here for the choice field. I've named my field rating. I encourage you to do the same. It'll be a little easier to follow along, but of course you could use different names for your field by updating the code. So you see a preview of how this looks up at the top. We're going to be doing a 5-point scale, but it's possible to adapt this code to do any number you want. It could be a 10-point rating system if you wish. The top of the instructions, it's showing us the HTML that will be produced by the formatting template. It will be a div inside of which are a series of 5 span elements which will hold each of the 5 stars. To begin, we need to give instructions to SharePoint on which formatting schema that we're using. This is the starting point for all JSON formatting templates. This is a column formatting template, so we're referencing that schema, and that's the very first step. Whoops. And the next step, we're going to add the main div and child elements, and then we're going to make some further adjustments in the code. Let's take a look. I'll zoom this in, and you can see that what we have here is our main div. We're setting the font size. That will be the size of the stars. We want to show a pointer icon when we're hovering over the content. This helps the user know that they can click on this and it's going to do something for them. For each of those span elements, we want to add a little bit of padding on the right, so there's some room in between those. And then we're just setting the display attribute for inline display. Notice this is exactly the same for each of the divs. So we have 5 of those. This same code is repeated 5 times as shown. All right, now we're ready to move on to the next step. We need to make this interactive, and in order to do that, we need to use this custom row action attribute. And then we're going to tell SharePoint what to do when the user clicks on each of these 5 stars. So in this code, again, it's going to repeat, and you're going to see a very similar pattern between each of those divs. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on. Here's the custom row action node, and we're doing a set value attribute. So this means on the first star, I want to set it to 1. On the second star, I want to set it to 2, and so on. If I click on the 5th star, I want to set the value of the field to 5. That's all that's going on there. Notice it says your field name. Well, clearly you need to replace that. If you don't replace that, this won't work. What we're looking for here is the name of the field. So you're going to swap in your field name. We called our field rating, and you can do that in the code editor on the right. So if I zoom back out, I just click copied editor, and on the right hand side, that's where I can update my code. So instead of your field name, I'm going to just put in rating. That's the name of the field. We're telling SharePoint which field to update. And make sure you do that 5 times. There's 5 different elements. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of the code. We've got 2 more code update steps. And this is where we're going to specify the icons which are going to be shown. Okay, so if I go into this code, you can see now we've got an attributes node that shows an icon name. And we're going to show a different icon depending on whether the value is filled or not. So we have 2 different icons we reference. We've got favorite star fill, that's the solid icon, and then favorite star, that's empty. So we're checking the value in the field. And you can see for each of those nodes, it's a little different. So if it's the second star, we're checking to see whether the value in the field is 2 or more. And the third node, 3 or more, and so on. And that way it knows how many of those stars should be shown. And then the last step follows a similar pattern. Not only do we need to control whether we have a filled star or not, we need to change the colors of the stars depending on whether I'm hovering over it or depending on whether it's a filled star or not. And in order to do that, we're going to use a class attribute right under that. And it's performing a similar check. So if I zoom in, you can see in each case we're checking the value of the current field. We're converting it to a number and we want to know what it is. In the second node, I want to know if it's more than or equal to 2. In the third node, more than or equal to 3. Fourth, more than or equal to 4, so on and so forth. It follows the same pattern throughout the code. Okay, so you just walk through the code like that, and then once you're ready, you just click Copied Editor and make sure as your final step, you're going to update the references in the code. So I've got 5 of those to update. Recall that I named my field Rating. So I need to swap those out. This is not going to work unless I make this update to the code. We can't tell SharePoint to update the field called Your Field Name. Doesn't exist. There's the third node. Just got to keep going down. I've got 2 more references to update, then I'm going to be all set. 1 more. I'm ready. I can just click copy up at the top on that green button. And now I'm ready to go over to SharePoint. Go to column settings, format this column, advanced mode, select all, paste, save. There are my stars. Let's look at the interactive function here. So as a user, I can see that I can click on this and it's going to highlight with the hover effect. It helps me understand what's going on. So I can set that to 5 stars, or if I want to, I can set it back down to 1. So that interactive function is really important. This is saving a lot of time. Instead of having to open up the record or go to a drop-down picker to select a value, I can just do that one simple click. What you should do is play around with the different style attributes and color classes to change the appearance of this. There's lots of possibilities. To get some ideas, click on the blue Live Preview button, and that will take you over to another window where you can see some different options. If I click on these different theme options, I'm going to see different things I can do. There's lots of icons you can pick from. If you click on the icon picker, you can go through there. So it doesn't have to be stars. You could do different rating icons if you wish. It's entirely up to you. And then also you could change this. If you wanted to do a 10-point rating system, that's certainly possible. There's no limit to it. You're just going to repeat the code as we did in our example. So looking in the preview area is going to help you a lot just to see different possibilities of what you can do. Okay, that concludes our training on our star rating system template. And in this case, we have a repeating section where we have different nodes and interactive capabilities by setting that custom row action attribute. Be sure to adjust the template, make adjustments, and come up with your own system. Come up with your own appearance according to whatever system or tracker that you're building in your own SharePoint environment. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you'll join us for the next SharePoint JSON formatting training session. Good luck.